This is the Editor's Half Hour. Step into the life of an editor for 30 minutes as we discuss the craft of editing, industry trends, and editorial resources. Your host is co-founder and CEO of Peak Publishing Inc., Nadia Geagea Pupa. She is experienced in all facets of the publishing industry, from editing to design, and works with corporate clients and self-published authors. Nadia and her guests are about to share powerful insights and stories on what it takes to be an editor. And this is your host, Nadia Geagea Pupa.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nadia Geagea Pupa, and I am an editor. I'm also a major word nerd. And I want to explain to you a little bit about how I got here and why we're doing this podcast in the first place. It all started way back in high school. I was in a sociology class, and I freaked out because I realized I didn't do the homework assignment and the teacher was going to collect the papers at the end of the class. The entire class, I wrote maybe a 3-paragraph essay, hand wrote an essay and filled out some stupid form. I don't even know what the assignment was, but I totally made it up. This kid sitting next to me in the class was like freaking out for me. He's like, I can't believe you forgot to do this. I turned it in, and he was the first one to try to find out what my grade was at the end of the week. I got an A+, and I'm not smart, believe me. I was just as shocked as he was, but I realized in that moment that I had a little bit of a talented, specific skill in writing and assessing the assignment and understanding how to address the questions that were asked. That's when I knew that I had a skill and a talent in writing and then into editing. After that experience, let's say 20 years later, I've kind of journeyed through the publishing industry and really found my passion, and that is in editing books. On this podcast, you're going to hear a lot about corporate clients, self-published authors. My experience is very much in the corporate world. I also do work with self-published authors, but I want to explain a little bit about what that corporate world means, because I am going to really talk about that with every single guest on this show. Corporate clients actually include academic clients, colleges, universities. It includes private corporations, consultancies. It also includes government contract work. They're not corporate, but with the government clients, they do require the editing, the designing. A lot of that goes into the editorial support. It's a lot of content development support. And all of those skills go into helping different companies in that corporate bubble. On the other side of my company, I also focus on the self-published authors. In that world, it's even more intimate. You really get to know your clients. You get to help them from the book coaching level to developing the content together to designing it and publishing it. It is so much fun, and I love all aspects of the publishing process. We're going to talk about that on this show. On the Editor's Half Hour, we are going to be interviewing seasoned professionals. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of publishing, specifically the editing. In the editing world, there are different levels of editing. There's developmental, copy editing, there's proofreading. We're going to talk about all of those things, but we're not going to talk about those things at an intro level. We're not going to explain the differences between developmental editing and copy editing. That's not the purpose of this show. I want to get right in, like I said, nuts and bolts, talk about what we do. We're going to talk shop. If you don't know the differences between developmental editing, copy editing, and proofreading, I would really like to encourage you to look those up. Get familiar with those differences. And I still want you to watch the show if you're new to the editing world, but it is not going to be an intro level show. We're really going to dive in and talk about those things and step into the life of other editors and what they've experienced in their careers. Whether they're a staffer for a big corporation or if they're an editor who is running their own company as a freelance, it doesn't matter. We're going to get into it, and it's going to be so much fun. So I hope that you come and turn to the Editor's Half Hour as your resource, as your guide, whether you're starting your own company, whether you've already established your company. We're going to talk about ideas and different ways to run our businesses.
Thank you for listening to the Editor's Half Hour. This podcast is your go-to resource for editorial trends, opening the discussion for new ideas through the real-life stories of editors. For more information about Nadia Geagea Pupa and her business, visit peakpublishing.com. That's P-I-Q-U-E publishing.com. Be sure to follow Peak Publishing on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And remember to subscribe and follow the Editor's Half Hour wherever you get your podcasts.